सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Page 10, chant from the verse 12. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam purusham shashvatam divyam आदिदेवमजं विभुं आदिदेवमजं विभुं आहुस्त्वां ऋषयः सर्वे आहुस्त्वां ऋषयः सर्वे देवर्षिर्नारदस्तथा देवर्षिर्नारदस्तथा असितो देवलो व्यासः असितो देवलो व्यासः स्वयं चैव ब्रवीषि मे स्वयं चैव सर्वमेतद्रुतं मन्ये सर्वमेतद्रुतं मन्ये यन्मां वदसि केशव यन्मां वदसि केशव नहि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिं नहि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिं विदुर्देवान् दानवाः विदुर्देवान् दानवाः स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तम वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावन भूतेश भूतभावन भूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते देवदेव जगत्पते। Arjuna here is singing in the praise of Lord Krishna, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Lord, you are indeed Param Brahma, you are indeed the ultimate light of all the lights. You are the Brahman that is limitless. Pavitram Paramam, you are the greatest purifier. This I know, this is what I have come to understand from the words of the sages. Ahustvam Rishas Sarve, all the Rishis, all sages, this is how they speak of you. Devarshi Naradastatha, among them Devarshi Narada, Asitaha, Devala, Vyasa, these and all of the sages also speak about you in this way. In what way? Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, that you are Purusha, you are perfect, you are complete. You are the one who dwells in the hearts of all the beings. Shashvatam, you are eternal, imperishable. Divyam, you are divine. That means the one that lives in the heavens, in the heart. So one who lives in the pure heart of all the beings, or one who is beyond the sight or perception of all the beings, that is one who transcends this worldly names and forms. Adi Devam, you are the very Adi, the cause, and the very self-effulgent Lord. Vibhum, the one who is all-pervasive. This is how the sages speak of you. Sarvametadritam manye, and Lord, you also say the same thing. This is how you have been saying about your own self. Sarvametadritam manye, yanmam vadasi Keshava. Hey Keshava, all that you say about you, and all the sages which have been saying about you, Ritam Manye, all of that I take it to be true. Because Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim, hey Bhagavan, O Lord, your Vyakti, your personality, your glories, no one knows other than you. Because for someone to know the glories of the Lord, that person must be omniscient, and you are the only one who is omniscient. Therefore you know. Swamevatmanatmanam Vettatvam Purushottama. Hey Purushottama, O most exalted Purusha. That is this Akshara Purusha, the perishable, Akshara Purusha, the imperishable, the cause, Uttama Purusha, one that is beyond this cause and effect, that Purusha. You are the limitless, and the others, you are of the nature of knowledge. Swayameva Atmana Atmanam Tvam Vetha. You know yourself by yourself. Which means that you did not have to gain the knowledge from anyone. You are omniscient by nature. You are the very embodiment of knowledge, and therefore by nature you are omniscient, and therefore you know everything. You know yourself as well as you know everything else. Of course, everything is itself. He knows everything as himself, but he knows everything in every detail. He knows the past, present and future. Vedaham samatidani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani bhutani. In the 7th chapter, Lord Krishna said, Vedaham samatidani. Here Arjuna, I know everything that has gone by in the past. Vartamanani cha, and whatever obtains in the present. Bhavishyani bhutani, and whatever will come into being, all of that I know. Bahuni me vyatidani janmani tavacharjana tanyaham veda sarvani. In the 4th chapter also to say, hey Arjuna, you and I, both of us have gone through many births. The difference between you and I is that I know them all and you do not know them. This Lord Krishna has declared himself to be omniscient, all-knowing in several places in the Bhagavad Gītā. So here also, so you are the embodiment of knowledge, you are omniscient, you know yourself. Everyone else knows because of you. Every form of knowledge ultimately comes from God, because God is the nature of knowledge. And every knowledge that we get is a revelation of our mind actually. And therefore nobody can claim really authorship of the knowledge. God is of the nature of knowledge and He reveals Himself in the heart of people. That's how we come to know of things. But you, being the very nature of knowledge, you know yourself by yourself. Bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. And again singing the praises, the glories of the Lord. Lord, you are Bhuta Bhavana. You are the one who has brought into being all these creatures. Bhuta, you are the very father of all the creatures. Bhutesha, you are the very controller, the ordinator of all the beings. Deva Deva, you are the one that is worshipped by even all the gods. So you are the most worshipful one, you are the most revered one, most adorable one. Jagat Pate, you are the very Pati, the Palaka, the protector of the entire creation. You are the protector, you are the nourisher. And the best way that you protect is by revealing the knowledge through the Vedas, through the scriptures. And thus, Arjuna is praising Lord Krishna. And he continues, this being the case, therefore, in the 16th verse, Arjuna says, Vaktumarhasya sheshena divyāhyātma vibhūtayah yābhir vibhūtibhir imamstvam vyāpya tishtasi. Lord Krishna said himself, the one who knows my vibhutis, my glories, he gets established in me. Hare, Lord Krishna said, Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yoget tattvataha. Here Arjuna, one who knows my glories and one who knows my nature, that one gets established in me in an unswerving way. That means knowledge of vibhutis, knowledge of glories of the Lord is required in order to know Him, in order to get established in His knowledge. Therefore now Arjuna is making here a request of the Lord. Vaktum arhasi asheshena. Vaktum arhasi. Be pleased to speak. Asheshena. Without leaving anything. Divya hi atma vibhutaya. O Lord, please speak of me, or please narrate to me Atma Vibhutaya, your own glories. Divyaha Atma Vibhutaya, your divine glories. I know, Lord, that you are indeed everything. But then I want to know your divine, unusual glories, divine glories, your glories which stand out. Yabhir vibhutibhir lokan imamstum vyapya tishtasi. Those divine glories, extraordinary glories, please describe in me in full. The glories by which you remain pervading the three worlds. Lokan vyapya tishtasi. Vyapya, pervading all the worlds, you remain. So you are nothing but the three worlds. The whole three worlds, the universe, is nothing but your manifestation, and therefore you remain pervading the whole universe. And that's the glory. Basically, the glory of the Lord is that He is manifest in the whole universe. And had that not happened, people ask questions, Swamiji, why should this creation be there? Suppose creation was not there, we would never have known Him. Thank God that He is, the creation is there, and thank Him that He is manifest in the universe. So if not today, at least tomorrow this desire will arise. What is the nature of this world? Who has created this? Usually when I look at the world, then either I want to enjoy it or I want to turn away from it. That may happen. But when my mind becomes sattvic, then this desire may arise. Who is the creator of this world? What is the truth about the world? And that's how the world becomes a pointer to the creator of the world. So that vibhuti is vividhena bhavanam, one becoming many, or one appearing as many, that is called vibhuti, that's called the glory. So it is a glory that you are manifest to the whole universe, and thus you remain pervading the entire universe by your glories. Of them, whatever are your divine glories, the extraordinary glories, please narrate to them in all the detail without leaving anything. Why do you want to know? What's the reason why do you want to know my glories? Arjuna explains that in the next verse, says here. Katham vidyamaham yogin, katham vidyamaham yogin, tvam sada parichintayan, keshu keshu cha bhaveshu, keshu keshu cha bhaveshu, chintyosi bhagavan maya. Katham vidyamaham yogin. How can I know you? The purpose that Arjuna is asking all this is, Katham vidyamaham yogin. Lord, how should I know you? So I want to know you. And I know that the only way I can know you is by constantly contemplating upon you, by constantly meditating upon you, by constantly worshipping you. So here this worship is presented as a means of knowledge. This we have said earlier also, that by worship, we make the object of worship favorable to us. Swami, why should we worship God? To obtain His grace. What do you mean by grace? Grace means favorableness. Now we can obtain the grace of the Lord in whichever way we want. We can worship the Lord and seek His grace so that our desires can be fulfilled. We can acquire some of the worldly objects and things and beings that we want. That way also we can seek the grace of Lord. Nothing wrong in it. But better than that, we worship the Lord so that we get Lord Himself. So why should we worry about things from Him? Why not we ask Him? So there also. But how can I know Him? So here, knowing God is possible when, or knowing anything is possible when that thing becomes favorable to me. Is it not so? I can know something when there is a harmony, a tuning between I and what I want to know. If I want to know a subatomic, some particle, small particle, through a microscope, I will look at it, and the purpose of the microscope and its adjustment is so that there is a harmony, a tuning between myself and that object which I want to know. If the object is very far away, I use the telescope to establish a tuning up between myself and that object. That is how that object becomes favorable to me, so that I know. I should do something to make that object favorable to me. If the object is very far away, then I have an extension of my eyes in the form of a telescope, so that the object becomes favorable, so I know Him. The object is very minute, then I use another extension of my eyes and the telescope so that it becomes favorable for me to know. Similarly also, for me to know the Lord, He should become favorable to me. Kathopanishad also says, Tattva bhava prasidati. When one worships the Lord, he becomes favorable. Favorably disposed to reveal himself. Here itself Lord Krishna said, Tesham evanukampartham, out of compassion for them, I illumine the lamp of knowledge in their heart and dispel the darkness of ignorance. So when my devotees are I see that they are totally devoted to me, that there is nothing in their life other than me, their whole life at the level of the action, the speech, mind, thought, everything is only centered upon me. When I find that, then I give them the knowledge, I give them my vision, I appear before in their heart as their own self. You can imagine different steps such as the teacher. Through teacher he may do that. It's not that, alright, depending on what kind of knowledge I want, he may appear before me as a teacher. And through that he may give the knowledge, but it is he who gives the knowledge. When will he give the knowledge? When he becomes favorably disposed to me. How does he favorably become disposed to me? When I worship him, when I please him, when I think of him, when I remember him, when I all the time think of him. How do I so katham vidyamaham yogin? O Lord, how should I know you? Tvam sada parichintayan, all the time remaining engaged in your thinking. Parichintayan. Chintanam means thinking. Parichintanam, thinking all the ways. Sada parichintayan, all the time thinking. All the time, ever engage in your thinking, ever engage in contemplation upon you, meditation upon you, worship of you. So Lord, I want to know you. And I know that the means of your knowledge is that all the time my mind must be engaged in thinking about you. But I cannot think of you who is beyond the name and form and infinite and limitless. That's all for the Uttamadhikaris. That is for the exalted students. I am not yet at that level. I am what we call the Mandadhikari. Mandadhikari means the Adhikari who is still dull. Madhyama, Manda, middling or a dull Adhikari. I am a dull student. And therefore, I still cannot comprehend your abstract form. I can only comprehend you through the manifest forms. Therefore, Keshu Keshu Bhaveshu Chintyosi. How can I think of the Lord? When I think of His glories. I know that everything is God, no doubt about that. But at the moment I do not see God in everything. That's my problem, not God's problem. But I don't see Him everywhere. When somebody comes to me, insulting me, hurting me, it's not possible to see God in there, Swamiji. He's my competitor, what can I do with him? Why can I bless him? You say that you bless your enemies. How can I do that? He's my competitor. He's going to take over my business? How do you expect me to pray for him? At least pray for your friend. That much I can do. Start that way. In short, to begin with, it is not possible for a person, although it is true that he is a maker and he is a material. And therefore as material cause, he pervades everything. And whatever it is nothing but his manifestation. But still, my mind being what it is, still, I do not get inspired when I see these poles and pillars. That doesn't give me the idea of God. When I look at the wall, does it remind me of God? Doesn't. I look at the ceiling, does it remind me of God? Doesn't. If it does, then I don't need any particular form. But at this time I need a form which can remind me of God, which can invoke in me the devotion. It's there, but right now some churning is required to invoke that devotion. And therefore, very specific forms are required. Keshu Keshu Bhavesu Chintyosi Bhagavan Maya. O Lord, in what are those bhava, what are those objects, what are those manifestations of yours in which I should think about you? And that also has to be revealed by Him. Because when I look at things that doesn't occur to me, then somebody has to show me. Even watching the dance, I just watch all that. Somebody show me, Swamiji, look at that. Look at her steps and look at his gestures and see what this gesture means. See the symbolism involved and look at the face and look at the bhava. And when somebody shows me, then I can appreciate. So people have the appreciation courses, art appreciation course. Because I look at the painting, I stand there, it doesn't do anything to me. Somebody has to tell me how to enjoy the painting, how to enjoy the art, how to enjoy the music, because I'm going to be initiated in that. When I become a connoisseur myself, then I don't need that help. But until then, similarly also, when I'm able to appreciate God everywhere, no problem. Right now, Swamiji, is difficult. The world is so cruel. Where is God? This is such, there is disorder. Where is God? There is injustice. Where is God? There is all this diversity. Where is God? I don't see God. And therefore, I need those special things. So when I look at the Himalayas, oh yes, that definitely, that majesty and that, there's something there, Swamiji. When I go to the Himalayas, something I feel. When I take a dip in the Ganges, it is something out of this world. So therefore, I need those things at this time to stimulate that devotion in me, which is there, but needs to be stimulated. And therefore, it is nice to say that God is everything and everywhere, but it is not a practical thing to begin with. Practically, I do require something that can invoke the devotion in me. And therefore, Arjuna wants to know from Lord, please describe to me, please show me your glories. Please teach me how to look at, how to see you. And that I can see you or I can think of you only when there are divine glories, something extraordinary. So everything that is ordinary is God, no doubt. But then I can appreciate God when there is an extraordinary expression. So Divya Atma Vibhuteha, your divine or extraordinary glories, please describe to me, so that I can all the constantly ever engage myself in thinking of you. And that way my mind becomes pure, thinking of God. Because He is Pavitram Paramam, He is a great sanctifier. So we take dip in the Ganges and we get sanctified and say that all those things get removed. They don't seem to get removed, but that's what is being said. Depends on how much devotion and how much reverence we have. But whenever I think of anything that is pure, I get pure. So just as an impure stream of water, then it comes in contact with the Ganges, which is a vast stream, how that little impure thing also becomes Ganges. Similarly also the stream of my mind, when it comes in contact with the river, that's God, then my mind also gets purified. So this is an excellent way of purifying the mind. Is thinking about Lord. That's the reason why the sages and saints all the time prescribe, repeat God's name. Repeat His name. Do His darshanam. Think of Him. Listen to His glories. In short, keep your mind engaged in Him in one way or the other. Sada parichindrayan, not 5-10 minutes or 15 minutes a day, sada parichindrayan, all the time. Because every time I think of the worldly objects, my mind again gets impure. Because thinking of the worldly objects is always going to be raga dveshas. When I think of something in the world, either I like it or I don't like it, and therefore, what the world does at this time is to only invoke the likes and dislikes in me, and therefore, that thinking only creates a pollution in my mind. Therefore, thinking of God, which is free from all the likes and dislikes, that's one object where likes and dislikes cannot have a place, because He is equal, He is same everywhere. He is always kind, He is always compassionate, He is always glorious, He is always, and therefore, thinking of Him purifies my mind. Therefore, thinking of God, meditating upon Him, worshipping Him, all of these are the means of mind, purification of mind. More mind comes in contact, remains in contact with that, more purified it becomes. And therefore, and the mind always needs variety. It's difficult for the mind just to keep on thinking of one thing. It wants change. It's all right. That's why Lord Krishna is going to describe a number of glories. Now think of this, something else, something else. So many things are there to think of. Those things can remind me of God. I can see some majesty of the Lord, some divinity in there, some glory, some might, some power, some beauty, which reminds me of the Lord. So Keshu Keshu Bhaveshu, what are those things, what are those objects, what are those manifestations in which I meditate upon you So ultimately through that I know you. So here meditation or worship, mental worship of the Lord is a means of knowing the Lord, Saguna Brahma. As he says, Saguna Brahma is Dhyayam, is to be meditated upon, worship. Nirguna Brahma is Jnayam, is to be known as the self. And thus, by worship of God with attributes, as my mind becomes pure, ultimately I gain the fitness to know the Lord, the Nirgunam, as my own self. So this is the scheme. Worship of Saguna Brahma, worship of God with attributes. That becomes a means of knowing the Lord beyond the attributes. And concluding his presentation here, Arjuna says in the 18th verse, Vistarenatmano yogam, Vistarenatmano yogam, Vibhutim cha janardana, Vibhutim cha janardana, Bhuyah kathay truptirhi, Bhuyah kathay truptirhi, Shunvato nasti me mritam, Shunvato nasti me mritam. Vistarena, elaborately. Atmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana kathaya. O Lord, please narrate Vistarena in Vistar, in great detail. Elaborately, please narrate. Atmano yogam, describe your yoga. That means your power. And vibhuti, your glory. So the power of one becoming man is called yoga. Becoming many, appearing as man is called vibhuti, the glory, and the power of one appearing as man is called yoga. Please describe to me the yoga and the vibhuti, Vistarena. Janardana. So Arjuna uses the word, name Janardana for Lord Krishna. Shankaracharya explains there is a purpose why this name is being used. The word Janardana comes Jana plus Ardana. That's how the word is made up. Ardana is a word derived root Ad. Ad in the sense of gati, in the sense of going, or in the sense of prayer. So Yachana. So Janardana. Janardana is the one, is a God who takes all the demons into Naraka. That means he punishes all the demons and takes them to hell for them to suffer their sins. In short, Janardana is the one who drives away all the demons. So Lord, please drive away from my heart the demons of the attachment and aversion, these likes and dislikes. They are the demons. So they are the robbers. They rob away the peace of my mind. Therefore, O Lord, please help drive away these demons of attachment and aversion from my heart. Or Janardana. So Jana also means the devotees. So the one who is always prayed for by the devotees, who fulfills the prayers or wishes of the devotees is called Janardana. Hey Lord, I am your devotee and please fulfill my wish, fulfill my prayer so that I can meditate upon you and I can know you. So all the topic here is a meditation, our mental worship of the Lord. So hey Janardana, Kathaya, please narrate, please describe Vistarena in great detail, elaborately, Atmana Yogam Vibhutim cha, elaborately. As we said, Arjuna seems to have forgotten where he is sitting. Please describe in great detail. Please narrate elaborately, as though he is all the time. The thing is, he is all the time in the world. He forgets that he is sitting in the middle of the battlefield. That people are all waiting for them, In fact, this dialogue is going on. Thank God that time, until Arjuna will strikes first, the battle will not begin. So everybody is watching them. And Duryodhana also is all of them watching. Something is going on between them, that's all right. But Arjuna forgets that he is in a situation which is all crisis. And he is in the middle of the battlefield. He forgets that. So look at this, what a conversion has taken place in Arjuna. When he came in the battlefield, he said, Lord, take my chariot between the two armies. I want to see, I want to survey both the armies to see who are the people I have to fight with. I'll see, all these fellows who come to help Duryodhana, I want to see them. So this is how, with this kind of determination he had come. And slowly, from the fighter Arjuna, he became the Jignasu Arjuna. He became the, of course, sad Arjuna, grieving Arjuna. He became the seeker Arjuna. Now become a devotee Arjuna. He says, please describe, narrate in great detail all the... But Lord says, I've been telling you. What do you think I've been telling you? I've been describing only my glories. In the 7th chapter I did that, 9th chapter, 8, every I'm describing that. Bhuya, please do it again. Please describe again. So this shows love, isn't it? How would you want to know? I mean, after all, if people start talking about them, who wants to listen to them? Here, Lord Krishna is only talking about himself. Usually you dismiss such people. So look at Atma Shlaga. He keeps on boasting about himself. But here, Arjuna seems to be enjoying it. That's what Lord Krishna said. Tatteham priyamanaya. Arjuna, I find that you are taking delight in all my discourses. Arjuna also confirms that Lord, tell me again. That shows love. When we love somebody, then we want to listen more and more and more. In that everything is always, you never get bored. And because even if you listen to it the same thing again, still there is something new in there. It's ever fresh. And what to talk of glories of the Lord? They're ever fresh. So bhuyaha katha. This is the kind of disciple that you need, An ideal disciple for a guru, as I said, who will not get inspired by a disciple like this. As we said, gurus also need some nourishment, The gurus also need some encouragement. Sometimes they can get discouraged. Depending on how the disciples are, looking up in the ceiling and then dozing off, going there, doing something, what it is, I don't know. And then the people are, so on the other hand, here is the one eagerly asking, please tell me more and more. Bhuya katha. But Arjuna will not get bored. Says, no. Śrīmvato nāsti me vrutam. Says, truptihi śrīmvato nāsti me vrutam. O Lord, because when I am listening to this nectar of the words, I have no satisfaction at all. I don't seem to get satiated at all in spite of listening to this. So your words are like the nectar, and I am drinking that nectar, and I seem to gain no satisfaction at all. In fact, more I hear, more eager I want to hear more and more about it. So that is how Arjuna presents himself here as the most ideal disciple. So somebody says that, truptihi nasti, that I don't seem to get satisfied. No, you may not get satisfied for various reasons. Suppose I am listening, I am suppose drinking something. I say I am not satisfied because there is nothing to be satisfied in that. Sometimes I say, I am not happy, I am not satisfied. You can say, because there is no rasa in that. There is nothing to enjoy in that. That's why also you say, I am not satisfied. Or, what I am listening to or what I am given is something great, but I don't have the appreciation of it also. Sometimes wonderful thing will be going on, a beautiful dance will be going on. I am not satisfied because I have no sense to appreciate that. Then also you are not satisfied. Arjuna is not like that. He says, Amritam, I understand. I know the rasa, the very joy that is there in your words, and I am also the one who recognizes that joy. And even if there is ambrosia, suppose, even ambrosia also, if you keep on drinking and drinking, you will get satisfied someday. After all, stomach has a limited space, and even if you are eating or drinking ambrosia, then also you feel, all right, enough. You will have belching. Satisfaction. But here Arjuna is drinking. Drinking through what? Drinking through the ears. Ears are said to be made of the element space, Ears are the tanmatra. So ears are created from the sattva of the element space. And therefore, my stomach is like space, because I am drinking through the stomach of the ears, and therefore, this nectar that I am drinking, it never fills me, and therefore, I am never satisfied. Therefore, Lord, please tell me more and more, and again. That's how Arjuna presented here his case, request to listen from the Lord his glories. Now what's the response of the teacher? He says, all right, I don't have time right now, come on, you start fighting battle first, then I'll see what to do later on. Does he say that? depends on what his estimate of a disciple is. It's not that every time somebody asks that you necessarily oblige them. There is no rule. There is no rule that just because somebody asks a question that necessarily answer is given. But how do we see Lord Krishna here? No sooner Arjuna makes a request, he is eager, more than eager. Immediately, Lord Krishna eagerly responds to Arjuna, says in the 19th verse, Śrīmad Hantate kathayashyami Divyāhyātma vibhūtayah Pradhānyatah kuru shrestha Nāstyanto vistarasya me Shri Bhagavan Vacha Hanta. Certainly, now, Kathayishyami. Hey Arjuna, right now I will describe to you. I will narrate to you now, not later. Otherwise, Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, don't you understand? This is not the time. This is not the time for these detailed descriptions. I already told you what my glories are. No. Hanta, now Idanim, that's how Shankaracharya explains. Hanta also is a particular several meanings. But the meaning is, Idanim, now I will describe to you. Kathayishyami, Divyaha, Hi Atma Vibhutayah. Hey Arjuna, I will describe to you all my divine glories, divine manifestations. By divine we mean unusual, extraordinary. But I cannot fulfill your request in totality. Because Arjuna said, Vaktum arhasi asheshena, please describe, please narrate to me your glories without leaving anything, that is not possible. I'll describe my glories all right, but it's not possible for me to describe all the glories. Pradhanyatah. Here Arjuna, I will describe those who are preeminent glories. So I'll stand glories which are all the important ones. That's all I'll tell you. The preeminent. In every class, there is a preeminent object. That is what I'll describe to you. And therefore, what I'll describe is eminent glories. Why Lord only describe eminent glories? Why not all the glories? Nastyanto vistarasya me. Because Arjuna, there is no end to my vistara. There is no end to my manifestations. There is no end to my glories. Here Shankaracharya says here, that varsha satena avina shakyaha vaktum. If I want to describe all my glories, even in 100 years also I cannot describe them. Why 100 years? No way you can describe them. There is a very beautiful verse. In Sanskrit it says, Asitagiri samam syat kajjalam sindhu patre suratarvar shakha lekhini patramurvi. Describing goddess Saraswati. Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge. Suppose this goddess of knowledge, who knows everything, she wants to describe the glories of the Lord, let us say. Now for describing, writing the glories of the Lord, she needs material, she needs the paper, and she needs the pen, and she needs the ink. Suppose we give all these requirements to goddess Saraswati. Asita givisamam syat kajjalam. Kajjalam means the ink. The ink powder. Suppose ink powder were of the size of the Mount Meru. Like that much ink powder is given to her. Sindhu patre, and the ink pot is as big as the ocean. The ink pot as big as the ocean, and the ink heaped in that like mountain. Suratarvara shakha lekhini, and she has a lekhini, she has a pen, which is which is a branch of the divine tree. That big pen she is given. Patramurvi, and the earth becomes a very page, earth becomes a very paper on which she is writing. So she has all the material with which she can write, describe. Now she starts describing the glories of the Lord. She starts writing. Likhat yadi grihitva Sharada sarvakalam. Suppose Sharada, goddess Saraswati herself, starts writing the glories of the Lord with all this material. Sarvakalam, all the time she keeps on writing. Tadapita gunanam ishaparam nayati. Even then, O Lord, there is no end to your virtues. There is no end to your glories. Even if Goddess Saraswati describes it all the time. So Lord Krishna says, I am sorry, I cannot describe all my glories, but I will describe all which are preeminent ones that I will describe. And now from the 20th verse, Lord Krishna starts describing his vibhutis, his glories. So this is called Vibhuti Yoga. The title of the chapter is Vibhuti or the Glories. But even before describing all these worldly glories, he describes his most important, the ultimate glory, to begin with. If you do that, after all we want to meditate upon God, and this generally style is that whenever addressing the students, you address the most eminent student first, and then go down slowly to less eminent, so that the most eminent student gets satisfied and can go away. He doesn't have to wait until last. You don't start with all the details. So in the beginning, you tell the most important thing, and that is enough for the student, gets and goes away. If you're still there, then all right, continue. You're still there, continue. Slowly come down on your level and come down and come down and come down and come down. This is style. Not you to start from the basics and go all the way up there, because then that fellow will be waiting and waiting and waiting. He will sleep there. But on the other hand, this is a style. So therefore, first Lord Krishna describes his most eminent glory. In the 20th verse, says here, Ahamatma Gudakesha, Ahamatma Gudakesha, सर्वभूताशयस्थितः सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यञ्च अहमादिश्च मध्यञ्च भूतानामन्त एव च भूतानामन्त एव च. अहमात्मा गुणाकेश सर्वभूताशय स्थितः. Hey Gudakesha, addressing Arjuna. So, Gudakayaha Ishaha Gudakeshaha. Gudaka means sleep, Nidra. Gudakayaha Ishaha, one who has mastered the sleep is called Gudakesha. Arjuna is the one who has mastered the sleep. That shows alertness or vigilance. And that's the kind of student you need when you're describing and one who is fit to meditate. Gudakesha. Because Arjuna is known to be that kind of a disciple. When Pandavas and Kauravas were learning archery and other weapons, the art of weapons, the science of weapons from sage Dronacharya, then sage Dronacharya would give them various lessons during the day, and you know what Arjuna would do? He would keep awake at night and keep on practicing those things. So by the next day he already mastered it. And at night he would keep on practicing his archery. And that's how he learned how to how to shoot the target just by the sound. So that's how Arjuna became the most accomplished archer. Because he also did not waste his time at night. Therefore he gained the title Gudakesha, one who has mastered the sleep. Or Gudakesha. Gudakesha means hair also. One who has very thick hair, very beautiful hair also is called Gudakesha. Or Gudakayaha Ishaha. Sometimes the word Gudaka is actually sense organs. So one who has a mastery over the sense organs. Or here Gudakesha means one who has mastery over the sleep. That's the better one, Hey Gudakesha, hey Arjuna. Ahamatma Gudakesha sarvabhutashaya sthitah. Hey Arjuna, I am the very Atma, I am the very self. Hey, you want to meditate upon me? Why go out any? I am the one that abides in the heart of all the beings, as the very self. Hey Arjuna, what is my most important glory? That I abide in your own heart. If Lord abides as a self in the hearts of all the beings, that is naturally he abides as self of Arjuna also. So Arjuna, for meditating upon me, for worshipping me, why go someplace? Meditate upon me, who is the self in your own heart. So that's the first meditation. And if you do that, you need not do anything else. Only one person cannot do that, then of course other meditations are given. The first is, the Lord is the very self, as the very consciousness, as the very asti, bhati, priyam. So aham asmi, sadabhami, kadachit naham apriya. Think about you, Arjuna. Think about the very essence that you are. You take yourself as Arjuna, but what is it about you? That is, what is the abiding reality about you? But Arjuna also, about you and I also, there are two aspects about I. Something about me is constantly changing, but there is something about me that does not change at all. That's what we call the abiding aspect of me. So what is it about me that always is abiding, that does not change? That I am a karta, bhokta, sukhi, dukhi, doer, enjoyer, happy, unhappy, all of that is subject to changing. What about me that does not change? The I am, asti, aham asmi. How do you know that you are? Sadabhami, because I am always shining. That I am, that existence is self-revealing. Kadachit naham apriya, and I never dislike myself. I always love myself. I love the self because love is the source of all the happiness, and that's why it is the object of love, unconditional love. I love the objects and people of the world, all right, but conditionally. I love things as long as they satisfy my condition. I love people as long as they are agreeable to me, favorable to me. But I love myself unconditionally. Therefore, what is the true nature of myself? Asti, bhati, priyam. I am that Sat Chit Ananda. That's how the Lord Satchidananda resides or shines in my own heart as my own self. Hey Arjuna, that is my most eminent glory. If you cannot, however, but that's not easy, because the self is subtle, very subtle. The Asti, Bhati, Priyam or Satchit Ananda has no form, has no attribute, has no color, no form, has nothing that I can catch with. And therefore it is very difficult to hold my mind to that, Swamiji. Alright, if you cannot think of the Lord in that way, here is something more. Aham adisya madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha. Alright, think of me in this way. Aham adisya, I am the beginning of the cause of everything. Madhyam cha, I am the middle of everything. Anta eva cha, I am the end of everything. That is, I am the creator, I am the sustainer, I am the dissolver. I am the one from which everything originates, I am the one by which everything is sustained, I am the one into which everything ultimately resolves. So alright, that's how you can think of me. So whenever anything you think of what is it that it comes from, what is it that sustains it, what is it that it goes back into, the material cause. So what's the ultimate material cause? Asti, Bhati, Priyam, that's the ultimate material cause. And so anyway, Lord Krishna says, you can meditate upon me or think of me in this way, that I am the Adi, I am the beginning of everything, the cause of everything, sustaining everything. And to me, everything resolves. If that also cannot be done, there is also rather, of course, thinking of God as a self is the most abstract. But thinking of His cause also is not easy. I have to direct my mind from the effect to the cause, not easy. So now, then even that also cannot be done. Then Lord Krishna describes His manifest glories, which helps me to think of Him or meditate upon Him. So for verse 21, Lord Krishna says here, Adityanamaham Vishnuhu, Adityanamaham Vishnuhu, Jyotisham Raviram Shuman, Jyotisham Raviram Shuman, Marichir Marutamasmi, Marichir Marutamasmi, Nakshatranamaham Shashi, Nakshatranamaham Shashi. Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. Here Arjuna, now all of these are quite unknown to us. A lot of the glories, by the way, that are described by Lord Krishna most of the things are not known to us, not current with us. But at the time when Arjuna was, all of these things were very current. And therefore, what is being described are many of these things may not be very relevant to us as far as meditating upon God is concerned. But all of them are very relevant to Arjuna and the people of that time when all of these things were a matter of common knowledge. Today we don't even know what is Aditya. We don't know. Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. Here Arjuna, Aditya is a class of gods. There are 12 Adityas. Sun also is called Aditya. But he is one of them. Aditya. They are the sons of Aditi. The mother of God is Aditi. And mother of demons is Diti. So Diti and Aditi. The sons of Diti are called Daitya. The sons of Aditi are called Aditya. Diti means what? Diti is a word that is derived from a root which means to cut to pieces. So that which cuts to pieces, everything. That is a Diti. And her children are called Daityas, all the demons, they cut everything to pieces. Aditi, who joins everything. And therefore her sons are called Adityas, so those who join everything. That means those who always bring peace. Those are the fellows who bring always discord and they always bring, they disrupt everything. Disruptive fellows. These fellows are all those who bring harmony and peace. So they are called Adityas. So of Aditi, who is the mother of the gods, there are the sons called Aditya. And there are 12 Adityas, of whom Vishnu is one of them. This morning you listened to the story of this Mahabali. So Mahabali was a great king, was one of the demons, of course. He was the grandson of Prahlada, and he, by his power, he had conquered the whole universe, as we've heard. And therefore the gods were actually driven away from heavens and they were all in exile. So his God's mother Aditi, looking at the fate of her children, my children are no place. They're in exile. They're just being driven from one place. They're being chased from one place to the other. So what should I do? Therefore she went to Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, and prayed to Lord, please do something about my sons. And she performed great penance. That's how the Lord appeared before her and said, what can I do for you? Then she says, please do something about my children. That they are being driven away from their abode. So do something so that they can gain their kingdom back. The Lord Vishnu says, okay, mother, I will be born as your son. And that's how Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu himself was born as the son of Aditi. He was the last one, the youngest one. And Aditi also had other children. Of his Indra is one of the eldest. And here Lord Vishnu was born as the 12th son of Aditi, the youngest. He was the dwarf, he was called Vamana. And that's how he went to Mahabali, and then he asked for the 3 steps of land, just 3 strides. That is why he is called the Lord of long strides, Trivikramaha. Shanno Vishnu Urukramaha. Vishnu Urukrama, the Lord with long strides. Because in one stride he measured the whole world. In the other stride he measured the whole other world. In the third stride, very cruel, very cruel. In 2 strides he took everything that Mahabali had, and then again he starts scolding him or starts demanding from him that, hey Bali, you have offered me 3 strides or 3 steps of land, and in the 2 I have covered everything. So where should I put my 3rd foot? That is 3rd stride. Then Bali presented his head, oh Lord, you can put it here. And without any compunction, Lord put his 3rd step, that is 3rd step on his head, and Bali was driven all the way into Patala. Very cruel. Lord can be, first of all, he cheated him. He sought these 3 steps of land when he was in the form that is Vamana or dwarf. And he measured 3 steps by becoming so Virat, becoming the cosmic person. And not only that, but he had no compunction, no pity at all on Bali, that he had given up everything and still the 3rd foot is placed on his head, to the extent that Bali was driven in Patala. As I told you earlier, then Brahma, the creator, was watching, the gods were all watching all of this. So Brahma, creator, asked of Lord Narayana, oh, what are you doing? How can you be so unkind? Don't you know that Bali is a devotee? In fact, he was a great devotee of Lord. No doubt he had some ahankara, he had some, some arrogance he may have, but he was a devotee of Lord. And he had conquered the three worlds by the virtue. So the reason why he conquered the three worlds is because he had the great priests who were performing the different yagas all the time, and he had so much amount of merit that he got that power by which he could win the whole world. Lord, he is a devotee, how can you do that? He says, well, whenever I want to favor my devotees, I rob everything away from them. So whenever I want to favor my devotees, I take everything away from them. So I took away in the one stride everything that belonged to Bali Raja in this world. Whatever he had done in this world, I took away. Whatever he earned by his merit in the other world, I took away. And I took away the ahankara also. Everything I took away. Left nothing for him. And then you know what happened? The story concludes like this. Ultimately, Lord said that now I'm going to be his servant. Lord became his servant. So now for 4 months in a year, Lord goes into Patala and he protects, he acts as, he works there as a guard. He guards the city of this Bali Raja. He works as his doorkeeper. Who? Lord himself. He became the servant. He says that I take away all these limited things from my devotees and I give them the infinite. So there is Vamana, that is the Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is called Vedashti to Vishnu. One who pervades everything is called Vishnu. Or Vishati to Vishnu. One who enters everything also is called Vishnu. That is the reason why the Lord has entered into the heart of all as their self. So very often the self also is called Vamana. And so Adityanam Aham Vishnu. Hey Arjuna, among all the Adityas, among all the sons of Aditi, I am Vishnu. Jyotisham Ravi Amshaman. Among all the Jyotis, among all the luminaries, I am Ravihi. Ravi means the sun. Amshaman. The sun also is said to have 12 different forms. The sun is said to have 12 different forms. Corresponding to 12 months. In every month the sun changes its form, and thus there are 12 forms in which the sun, S-U-N, sun appears before us. Of them, one of them is Amshuman, the last one. So among the Jyotisham, among the luminaries, I am the sun, that is Amshuman. Or among the luminaries, there are many luminaries are there. Of them, I am the very sun, who is a self-effulgent one. Because moon is a luminary all right, but is not self-effulgent. The stars are also luminaries, but they can illumine so little. Sun is the one that illumines the whole world. So I am the sun that illumines the entire world. So that is the vibhuti, the glory of the Lord, which we can appreciate. So we can meditate upon Lord as a sun, as the one that illumines the whole world. That's the glory of the Lord. Marichir Marutam Asmi. Marutam, among the Marut also is a class of gods. There are said to be 49 of them. Marut means wind also. There are 49 wind gods. But different kinds of winds are there, 49 kinds of winds are identified. So there are 7 kinds of wind, each having 7 kinds in there. Avaha, Pravaha, Vivaha, Paravaha, Udvaha, Samvaha, Parivaha. All these. The way where the wind blows this way and that way and up and down and different ways, wind blows, each one is given a name. In each, there are 7 thus classes, in each class there are 7. And thus there are 49 kinds of winds. Not only out there are 49 kinds of winds within also. Therefore Ayurveda knows all this Vayu, So when they the pulse. So when an Ayurvedic physician also examines my pulse, they knows how the winds are flowing inside. And probably knows what's happening in the body. But anyway, as it is, Marut is a class of gods, wind gods, and of them Lord Krishna says, I am the Marichi. We don't know. That is, as I said, we are not familiar with these wind gods. But among the wind gods, I am Marichi. Marichi means also light. Marichi also means brightness or the luminosity. Actually, all these are 49 Maruts, all these names you can find in the Puranas. All these names you can find. But when we go to these Maruts, the 49 of them, we don't find a single one called Marichi, by the way. That's interesting. Even though Lord Krishna says, I am Marichi among the wind gods, so when you look up the names of all these wind gods, we don't find anyone called Marichi. So let us say that Marichi means that very power, the very brilliance, or the very power, the very energy that there is, which is there in all the winds, so that's what I am. Nakshatranam aham shashi. Nakshatra, those who illumine the nights are called nakshatra. And so, the stars, the constellations, among them, I am Shashi, I am the moon. Even the moon is not a star really. So, but still, among the stars, I am the moon. That is, at night, those nakshatra is those who illumine at night. If that's how we explain about nakshatra, then the stars are those who illumine at night. The moon also is the one that illumines at night, and therefore Lord Krishna says, moon is my glory, my manifestation. So during the day, as sun, I illumine the world. During the night, as moon, I illumine the world. So I am the very luminary. I am the one because of whom the sun and the moon shine, or I manifest in the universe as the sun and the moon. Then in the next verse, Vedanam Samavedosmi, Vedanam Samavedosmi, Devanam Asmi Vasavah, Devanam Asmi Vasavah, Indriyanam Manaschasmi, Indriyanam Manaschasmi, Bhutanam Asmi Chetana, Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. Vedanam Samavedosmi. Among the Vedas I am Samaveda. As you know, there are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. Although all the Vedas are revelations of God. And if a Veda is said to be nothing but the manifestation of Lord in the form of words. It's called Vangmaya Avatara. The incarnation of Lord is as words, as a very words, as a very knowledge. So Veda means knowledge. The word Veda is derived from the root Ved, means to know. So Veda means the body of knowledge. And it is sage Vyasa who actually compiled them and divided into 4: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. Of them, Lord Krishna says that I am the Samaveda. All the Vedas are sacred. Vedas are the very source books. We look upon them as the revelations of God. And therefore the question, when were the Vedas written? No answer. They are never written. They are all revealed. You can say that in a date as to when it was revealed, but not when it was composed. These are not composed. These are not written by anybody. So the sages have not written the Vedas. Although associated with every mantra of the Veda or every hymn of the Vedas, there is a Rishi. And Rishi is not the composer of the mantra or the hymn. Rishayaha mantra drashtaraha. Rishis are those who see the mantra, which are always there, according to the conventional belief that these Veda mantras are always there. They never perish. Even if the whole world perished at the time of Pralaya, the Vedas remain. And therefore in the beginning of the next cycle, the sages by their penance and the yoga are able to tune up to those mantras, and that's how they seize the mantra of the Veda. This is the belief. And so Vedas are the very source book. And basically Vedas teach us 2 things, Dharma and Brahma. So these are the 2 subject matter of Veda. Apaurusha Jnanam. So that which a human intellect cannot conceive or cannot perceive or cannot comprehend, that's the subject matter of Veda. But then also Lord Krishna is Samaveda. Why is it so? Only because Samaveda is in the form of song, that is why. So it is Veda all right. But then the special of Samaveda is in the form of songs, that is, the mantra of the Vedas are sung. Sam means a song, and so Gītā. So Gānena Ramaniyatvat. Whenever something is told in the form of the music or the song, then it becomes much more charming. And therefore the very same mantras, when they are recited in a musical way, then they become more charming. That's why Lord Krishna says, I am the Samaveda among all the Vedas. Of course, that is what you are learning these days. In the Samaveda is the Chandogya Upanishad. In the Chandogya Upanishad, the 6th chapter, which subject matter of Swamiji's talks, Tattvamasi. That statement, Tattvamasi, comes from the 6th chapter of Chandogya, which is part of Samaveda also. Vedanam Samavedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasavaha. Among all the gods, I am Indra. Among all gods means those who live in the heavens. All the gods, I am the king. The Indra is the king of all the gods. Indriyanam Manaschasmi. Among the sense organs, I am the mind. As you know, we have 10 sense organs, 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of action. But these organs of perception and organs of action can perform their task only when they are backed by the mind. If the mind is not behind the sense organ cannot perform its function. Thus, the ears can only hear only when the mind is behind the ears. Otherwise, anyatra manaha bhuvam nashrosham. So this man is sitting on the roadside and doing his work. He was so engrossed in his work. There was this ironsmith, and he was working on making an arrow, sharpening the arrow. And he was so engrossed that someone asked me, "Hey, just now the king passed through this road with his retinue, and did you hear him? Or did you see him?" He says, "No. Anyatra manaha bhuvam nadarsham." My mind was elsewhere. I did not see him. You did not see the king with his elephants and horses and all the retinue? You did not see? He said, "No." But anyway, then all kinds of sounds were there because of blowing bugles and things like that. Did you hear him or not, at least? Anyatra manaha bhuvam nashrosham. I am sorry, my mind was elsewhere. I did not hear. Meaning thereby that the organs of perception, such as eyes, ears, all of these can perform their functions only when there is mind behind them. Therefore, Indriyanam Manaschasmi, even though the mind is not looked upon as one of the Indriya or sense organs, but in as much as mind has to be behind every sense organ, Lord Krishna says, I am the very mind. So mind is the glory of the Lord, understand? So we can meditate upon mind as Lord. What is meant by glory means you meditate upon that as God. So you can meditate upon sun as God. Either meditate upon sun as the glory of the Lord or as manifestation of Lord. Lord himself manifests as sun. Lord himself manifests as moon. Lord himself manifests as mind. And what a wonder the mind is. Thus one can, rather than worrying about how the mind is, one can meditate upon God as the very mind. And what a wondrous equipment that is. Then it can think. As Swamiji says, people complain to him, "Swamiji, my mind thinks. Thoughts keep on coming. But what do we expect in the mind? That's the purpose of the mind." But Swamiji's mind does not remain steady. It goes from one object to the other right away. That's good. Suppose mind got stuck with something. So now I'm walking on the road, now I see a donkey coming, and then I see a man coming, and suppose my mind doesn't give up the previous thought and takes up the new thought right away, I'll get confused. So it's good that mind has this tremendous ability to shift like lightning from one object to the other. That's wonderful. Sankalpa, Vikalpa. But Swamiji, my mind cannot decide anything. That's great. How many things it can think? Now it thinks of one thing. Sankalpa means, let me do this. I want to do this. Vikalpa, opposite. I don't want to do that. I think I should go. Sankalpa. Vikalpa, I don't think I should go. I think I locked the door. Sankalpa. I think I have not locked the door. Vikalpa. So sometimes people, this is a problem. It's a glory that you can switch right away, from one thing to the other. So that way, when one can see how the mind can travel with the speed of lightning, even lightning also. In one moment I can think of Brahmaloka, that is billions and billions of miles away. In a moment I can go there. So that's the glory that the mind is. And there are many upasanas or meditations and Upanishads where the mind is looked upon as Brahman. So may you meditate upon mind as Brahman. So Lord's glory is manifest in the mind. Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. So among the Bhutanam, among the living beings, I am Chetana. Chetana means the consciousness. So that because of which the body is conscious, sentiency. So that because of which the body has become sentient. That's called Chetana. So when a person dies, there is no Chetana there. How do you know that there is nobody Chalega, means gone? Is because there is no Chetana. So what is that keeps the body alive? That is called Chetana. And you know how the body remains alive? It is said that the consciousness is first reflected in my mind, in my buddhi, in my intellect. So intellect is that which first becomes conscious by the reflected consciousness. And then that reflected consciousness is passed on to the sense organs. And then it is passed on to the body. That's how it is my buddhi, it is my intellect, which is the subtlest and closest to the self or the consciousness. That's the first recipient of the reflection of consciousness. And then that consciousness is passed on from the buddhi to the mind to the sense organs, from sense organs to the body. So that's why Lord Krishna says that living beings are living beings because there is Chetana, because of that consciousness. That here it is reflected consciousness. So the reflected consciousness because of which the beings are alive or living beings are alive, that Chetana I am. So one can again meditate on God. I can think of my own body and I think of the Chetana, the consciousnness, the life force, the consciousness in my own body. That's the glory of the Lord. That's the manifestation of Lord. Thus, here now, this and all other verses, Lord Krishna provides those manifestations which can be used for his meditation, which we can look upon as the glory of, or we can see something extraordinary, and that is the manifestation of the Lord. Some extraordinary aspect of the Lord is manifest in all these objects. So mind is one of them. Chetana, that consciousness also, is another one. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.